This is Three Gamers Discourse, and welcome to it. I'm Nate, also known as Hunted117.
And this is Jordan, also known as DCoolio or Norco.
And I'm Chip, aka Chip, or Burge.
We will be your hosts, producers, creators, and self-proclaimed experts. Don't feel offended if we don't talk to you directly, but rather feel free to include yourself in our conversations at any time, via the comments below and or in the deep and dark recesses of your own minds. Here it is, enjoy the show.
And we're off.
And we're in space. Hey!
I'm in a ship.
If only you could fly it. Alright.
Well, it's like I can't even right now, this loading screen.
Move it around.
Like even Ghetto Warframe, I can move my ship
that game was
around.
fantastic. You shut your mouth. No, it was pretty ghetto. Alright, so while our lovely, who is that, the Titan Vanguard guy talks about this, tells us who we'll be fighting, let's get right into it, which is the Taken King downloadable content, which is what DLC stands for in case you didn't know. I'm kidding. That's a terrible joke.
I didn't know. Free
Really?
content that you pay for.
Free content that you pay for? I don't think that's what that is at all. But, so... Gosh, before we get down...
Talking into me, you goober.
Yeah, that's what I do every time I start throttling up with my right shoulder button, because everybody knows that's what you do, is you fly a sparrow by throttling up with the right shoulder button.
No, that's how you fly a Sidewinder.
Oh, different game.
That's for another
So,
day.
before we get down to the logistics of it, as far as the Taken King and things that we may or may not like about it, let's just talk about what it is. What we think about it as far as how it looks. So, Chip, you're up. What do you think?
The content itself, it looks good.
Looks good.
It'll be a fun DLC.
Cool. Norco, DCoolio.
You guys are gonna hate me for it, but I've been seeing a lot more videos for the Taken King, getting more excited for the raids, the missions, and the patrols. They look a lot better.
And it's just one of those things where I'm like getting excited, but I know deep down that that's probably how the other ones were in previous DLC too. So I'm excited for it. It looks like it's got potential, but who knows until it comes out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got potential. My thoughts are that too. It looks great. Looks fun. A lot of new stuff. From what I can tell, they're saying that it's as big, if not bigger, than the vanilla game itself.
Yep.
Basically, just to get a summary of it, what Bungie has posted of what it actually is. Let me pull up real quick what I have. Destiny: The Taken King is the next great adventure in the first-person shooter Destiny universe. It introduces a new story, new campaign and quests, new enemies to fight, new locations to explore, which we know is the Dreadnought, Oryx's ship.
Yeah, and I believe that's the only new playable.
The Comet as well.
The Comet.
As far as I understand, the first mission be going to a comet where a Cabal base is, and that's when things are gonna hit the fan.
Okay.
So it really was named Comet for a reason.
Oh, good to know. Wow. Jordan with the information. There he comes. Players will have access to 3 new Devastating Guardian subclasses and a massive arsenal of weapons, armor, and gear. Good enough, right? So, it sounds great. Before we say what we think of it as far as if we're going to buy it or not, I did want to talk about the story things that it's going to add, and the element that that adds to it, or that they claim it's going to add to it. What do you guys think?
It looks like it's going to focus more on
Side story again?
And
It's story again? And it's gonna be, you know, it's back to something that we are already familiar with the Dark Below, when we killed the guy down
below,
plus some of the missions right at the beginning.
like the Shrine of Toric.
So it kind of throws back to those, but it seems to be just kind of an offshoot. Hey, let's
Make this
army come and attack. It doesn't really do much to the big
storyline.
darkness. And why did the Traveler even show up here? You know.
Chip, I swear if you die one more time, I will bust your head.
That's what I'm here for.
Head busting?
Sorry, I was listening to you, Julio. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Story in Destiny has been lacking from the beginning, as far as any comprehensible anything that is going on at all.
Yeah.
You're
I mean, am I
somewhere
in?
What? Yeah, am I a guardian zombie? There you go. That's how you make Destiny better. I am a guardian zombie, brought to life by.
How does that make me different from a thrall?
It's all just like gothic symbolism. I was brought to life by a ghost. I'm actually a zombie. Wow.
I was brought to life by a ghost. I'm a zombie.
Good.
I eat zombies.
So, as far as the things that I know from the story that actually looked pretty cool, watching the Vidoc, the story seemed to have a lot to do with the 3 new subclasses as well, that you begin fighting this enemy that you can't handle as you are, and so you have to get this new subclass and discover this new power. And the Titan discovers Thor's hammer. Not really Thor's hammer, I'm kidding. That's totally what it looks like, though.
Well, and one of them discovers Emperor Palpatine.
Who's Thor?
Yeah, Warlock becomes Emperor Palpatine. And a Hunter becomes Katniss Everdeen. So, and I think, I mean, that's a cool way to integrate it, I feel like, but at the same time, I shouldn't have to pay for DLC in order to get some kind of a story.
Yeah.
That's not how it's supposed to be. So, I remember you, Chip, you had talked about earlier, just mentioning to me and playing, one thing that you don't necessarily agree with those classes and how they're arranged.
The bow.
The bow.
Yes.
So
The bow.
that's right.
Yes, the bow should not be with the hunter. It should be with the Titan.
So you think
And you could very easily make it. You could very easily make that fire damage, and then you make. You could even give it shorter range, okay? But the hunter, you've already got the golden gun. The warlock has self-res and already has something you can hit people far away with, and it's getting another. But give the freaking hunter some sort of hammer or a hatchet that he can throw, and give the bow to the Titan.
decent enough. So you want the Titan to be Katniss, and you want a Hunter to be Thor.
I want the Titan to be Mother freaking Robin Hood.
Mother freaking Robin Hood. Wow.
And you could even have the Hunter be more of a throwing knives as the super type of thing. Use the hammer in the same sort of
Well,
sense.
that's what I'm saying, like a hatchet, yeah, like a hatchet that he's throwing.
And it's just
And have it just be a little short range.
I can agree with that. I'll take that.
And then, I mean, I understand the Titan is a close combat kind of guy. It doesn't even have to shoot far. It could be like something that drops like 10 feet and explodes. I don't care.
Okay.
But that would just make more sense to me.
I totally agree. So, now getting into a little bit of old news, but things that we've kind of been upset about, and just in general. Now to the logistics of it. All right.
Okay.
Price is $40. Releases September 15th. $40. That is kind of where I have said no. I'm not paying $40 for it. It's too little, too late. Like I already said with the story, too little with the what it actually is. It's almost like I'm paying for. Finally, I have the opportunity to play the full game, and it's too much money for me to justify. What do you guys think?
Totally agree. It's not simple fact that I'm paying $40. It's that I'm paying $40. I've already paid $35 for a season pass, $40 if you bought those separate, and $60 for the game. And anyone who hasn't bought the game yet can get all of that for $60.
All of that for $60.
So the value of the stuff that I spent $100 on less than a year after is $15. It's lost its value to $85.
Okay.
And the way they justified that is by you get to play these little we got to do the Sword of Crota, and we got to be invaded by the House of Wolves or whatever.
Oh, and you're just talking about the
so
you're just talking about the public events, like, and that's kind of what they talked about in that Eurogamer interview with the lead dev creator, Luke Smith. And that's what's wrong with it. That they said, well, he said, well, it's all about the value that you assign to it. There's players that are coming in now that don't get to play and go and fight this sort of Crota public event type thing. Not really public event, but whatever they called it. And they won't get to do the invasion of the House of Wolves type thing. And it's like, all right, so you're telling me that I'm paying $100 or more for those two events simply because I got to play them and they didn't. Day one players.
Yes. They valued those at $85 to us.
Yeah.
Which were frankly just grind things anyway.
Exactly.
You know,
you
did
them
events,
once,
we just had to
and you
grind
did them 1,000 times. Yeah. Yep. So then, more into that Eurogamer interview. Or no, before I get to that, because I can go on about that forever. The price and the logistics. So the breakdown. Now, I know both of you have done a lot of research as far as the breakdown and what it is and what you actually get as being a newcomer to the game. And it's like, hey, now's a great time to get into Destiny. We should have waited another year after release to play it.
Yeah.
So what's the logistics there? The actual breakdown, cost, and game, and things like that.
So I was looking at this a little bit more, and so you said earlier that it's $40 for the Taken King, and that's true for you. But for me, it would have to be at least $60 because I don't have both of the DLC. In order for the $40, that's like their discount because you have both DLC. But where I only have the Dark Below, I would have to pay $60.
Really?
Yeah, which would be... So essentially you'd have to put in that 20 that you didn't put in
originally?
Yes, exactly. Yep.
No way!
Exactly. So before, when I thought it was $40, I'm going to buy that, but I'm definitely not going to buy that. But I'm definitely not going to buy it. Not going to buy it. Because
that's bizarre.
I mean, you know, I waited because I wanted to see how the second DLC was. The Dark Below, again, was disappointing on story. I loved the raid, and that's pretty much what I've loved about Destiny so far. The story's really been lacking. So I waited to see what you guys thought, and based on your reactions, House of Wolves wasn't worth getting.
Yeah. You're more of a campaign style guy. You don't like PvP as much.
Exactly.
And I would say that House of Wolves is definitely more PvP friendly.
Which I can
If
understand.
you were wanting to do Trials of Osiris.
It seemed like most people were hoping for more PvP anyway. So, I mean, that makes sense
Yeah.
why they would do that. But, you know, it's not worth it to me to have a PvP DLC. That's not my style.
Yeah.
Now have it
And
be like you have
let's
to pay
face
for
it,
this.
we were all and we were all planning on there being a raid for the second one.
Yep.
That was the impression that we were under, and that was a big disappointment.
Sorry, I missed some of that, but
That's right.
back
Where'd you
into it.
go?
I went
To the moon.
into the meta universe. That wizard came from the moon. So back to that, the breakdown. Did you guys do the whole breakdown?
Pretty much. We didn't get to the special one where the special edition.
Well, yeah. So tell me what I have to buy as a day one player versus what a newcomer has
Okay,
to buy
so
for being a
us
day one.
day
or for
one
not
players-
being a day one.
We have to pay $20 or $40 for the Taken King by itself, and then if we want the extra shaders and banners and whatnot, we have to pay $20 for. I believe they're supposed to be making that available right now. Currently on the Xbox Marketplace, it is not available
Okay.
separate, except for from the collector's edition.
Okay. And that's $40. So versus what I've paid. So $40, and then also
But
the
20 more.
20 more. But that's on top of the
100 that you've paid already.
$100 that we've already paid, and 60
Yes.
for the vanilla game, and another 40, 35 plus tax for the season pass, the other two DLCs, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
So tally that up. It is how much?
160.
160.
160.
Math is
Now,
hard.
math is hard. Math is hard. That's very offensive.
That guy just like skated like he was on rollerblades.
They have a new ability. So, as far as that goes, new players, and it's like nothing against them, great. People that decide to buy it, fantastic. I probably would too, had I not yet.
Yeah.
But,
Yes.
so, they have to pay how much for the Taken King and everything up till now?
$60. And then if they want the extra shaders and whatnot, they pay $80 to get the collector's edition, which also comes with like some steelbook or something, I think. Unless I'm mixing up
Okay.
Halo with it, but
But as far as gameplay goes, let's not consider the emblem and things. And supposedly there are some class armors that you can get that do affect how fast you gain XP. I'm not going to consider that a major effect on gameplay. But let's say that you get all of those things. They're paying $60 for the same amount of gameplay, pure gameplay, not banners, not emblems, not that class armor that really won't affect that much. They're paying $60 for that when we, as day one players, are paying
60.
40. If you're just talking
106
gameplay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, just
100
gameplay,
for-
just gameplay.
140.
$140. So we are up to this point at being more than double what they're paying.
3 times.
what
More than
newcomers
3
pay.
times. Just
Math
same
really
thing.
is hard.
Math really is hard for you, Chip.
40.
3 times.
Or 60. Oh, yeah, I was thinking 40. That's what I get for thinking.
That's right. We love you anyway.
So yeah. So that much. That's why you're not the smart one. That's why Jordan is.
Yes, indeed.
But so as far as the logistics go, that's a joke. Completely ridiculous. I'll get off of that now so I can rant about something else. And that is the Eurogamer interview with Luke Smith. It's old news by now.
hell.
And it's even gone and done in past, and Bungie themselves made him come out and apologize in their weekly update or whatever, saying that he sounded like an asshat, and he did, period. He himself said it. Which, in my opinion, the damage was already done. He showed his true colors. He's a douche. Kind of leave it at that, but at the same time, yes, go.
Read it. Read that article. He is a douche. Go on.
And to me, it just kind of exemplifies. These are the kind of people that they are. He said he wanted to poke at the interviewer for a little bit because he liked to see him squirm as far as, oh, you can't buy this content. I just want to poke at you a little bit more about this, and you would throw money at the screen if this was available right now. And it's like, yeah, he probably would. He wanted it, and that's fine.
He said, yeah, I would buy it if it was. Yeah.
So they did make it available. Great. Maybe for the person who was interviewing, it's a concession and it's a fix. In my opinion, it's not. That's a joke. $20 for stuff that doesn't affect gameplay. Mm-hmm. And that's besides the point that it's $40. They're not even focusing on the real issue, which is that we're paying, as day one players, more than double what newcomers are playing.
Yeah.
To play the same game.
That's kind of been my biggest thought with it. This whole thing with Luke Smith kind of sidetracked that, frankly, a lot of readers that, frankly, a lot of people don't even care about. I know that you guys don't, and I really don't. And it took it away from the real issue of the price of the game, which is the thing that we wanted to have a discussion with Bungie about, and now I think they're not even going to listen to it.
They put out a weekly, one of their weekly updates. They talked about how they were going to fix everything, and they did not address the fact that it was. They simply said, if you've already bought it, don't worry, we're going to take care of you. It'll cost you $40. And that's all they said.
Yeah.
They didn't address the fact that anybody cared. They didn't even acknowledge that people cared about the cost.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of people were just now, oh, good, I'm complacent about it. That's fine. We're not. I'm not going to buy it. Luke Smith is a douche, and that whole thing with how that turned out, as far as it really to me showed, oh, this is Bungie's true colors, Bungie vision now. They're all, it's just a money-making business. They don't really care about gamers. Deech, whatever he is, he's not a gamer. He's a PR person hired by Bungie Vision, and that's fine. The interview just shows what kind of people they are, and like you said, Chip, people need to read that and see who their favorite devs are, who these people are, just because it's a joke. It's not right. I can go on and on about it.
Well, something that's interesting to me is they have they actually hired a new voice actor, so they replaced Peter Dinklage.
Oh yeah, and this is new news.
Yes, they announced this at Gamescom this week. So he's going through, he's redoing all of the voiceovers. He's redoing all the ghosts. And what was intriguing to me is in this Eurogamer interview, Luke Smith mentions how you're getting this voiceover stuff. He specifically mentions that, and at that point, obviously, we didn't know they were paying somebody else to completely redo it all. But that has to be a factor. Essentially, that's part of what we're paying for with our $40 is the fact that they screwed up and hired someone who phoned in his lines and sucks.
That being Peter Dinklage.
That's a great point. The fact that, yes, Peter Dinklage phones in his lines. This wizard came from the moon. Some of the most hilariously terrible lines ever, and then in the end, they admit that it's a screw up. But in this DLC, essentially, you're paying for them fixing it. That's got to cost something. You're right. And the fact that it does cost something, it's like, we're going to fix this, but you're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
We're going to fix our mistake, But you're paying for it.
We're gonna make our day one players pay for it, and we'll just try to get as many new players as we can for cheap.
And that's where their money's going to come from. They already have the day one players, or the majority of them. I've talked to many people who are going to buy it, and I've tried to dissuade them not to. We had a conversation with one of our friends the other day. We're like, I'm not buying that. I can't justify the price. Just to summarize that Eurogamer interview, asshat.
Yes.
Period. The guy's a dirtbag. I won't touch that anymore. Justin, or did you guys have any more about the Eurogamer interview? I could let you guys go on all day about that.
No, I've got something. I think it's going in the same direction as you are going, though.
No, I don't think I am.
Okay, so do you want me to do it?
Go, Jordan.
I do.
Norco, you got it.
So we noticed that Destiny is rated T rather than M. And I think, at least in Destiny's mind, they do that because they don't have to worry about story. They think that the teen rating, they don't care about story. It's just a bunch of teenagers that they just want to go and kill a bunch of things and not really worry about anything. You know, it's kind of lacking in that sense. So you can see the kind of gamers that they're catering to, a little bit more of a casual gamer player base, I guess, is what you could say. They don't have some of the epic story of some other games, even that Bungie's done before.
As far as like Halo and amazing stories and real action and things like that.
Yeah, you look at some of these other games, they have so much more than just this default playing style. It's got a lot more story, a lot more things for elite gamers. It's got the story and the glory.
Okay, story and glory. You need to have that honest trailer guy say that. Story and glory. So you had mentioned to me though before some statistics as far, they might be a little bit older, but I think they're still relevant as far as people who have actually rated things like that, right?
Yep, so back in, I think this is about like March, Reddit guy did some research as far as the PlayStation 4 is concerned. So just on those players, on that console, he found that 20% had attempted a raid. Not beaten a raid, but attempted one of the two raids. So you can see that small amount of people. Then you've got all these other data points too that he looked at. Most of them around 15 to 35% of the players that have at least one piece of legendary armor or legendary gear. Only maybe 15% that have all legendary and exotic gear. So it really is an elite group that have most of the stuff in the game.
Okay, agreed. That's very interesting, a very good statistic, and it's like you say, it's how the whole thing reflects what Bungie is doing, and nobody cares. I care. There's some people that care. I shouldn't say that.
The 20%
on a lighter
care.
note, the 20% cares. On a lighter note, what I wanted to ask this question because I kind of thought about it myself. If this DLC could have anything in it, be it illogical, logical, ridiculous, or realistic, what would you pay for it, and what would you want in it? And I'm talking anything. Chip, go.
Anything. Well, if you're talking at the $40 price range that they've got, they're going to have a lot more promise to me. Essentially 2 more, basically a season pass, at least. You know?
For that same price?
Yeah, it's just more content.
Okay. And that, because as it is right now, Norco, you've talked about their plan for year 2, that they're going to release more, but they're not included in any sort of season pass, right?
Right. They may have their own season pass later on, just like they've done here with Year 1, but it'll just be 2 DLCs, just like we've got right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you want to see those for that $40 price. Is that right, Chip?
Yes.
Okay.
At least.
That's justified. Norco, what do you think? DeCoolio?
Well, I'd agree with what Chip is saying on that. I think that everything so far, including the DLC that hasn't been released, the Taken King and the other 2 DLC for Year 2, I think altogether that would be worth $40. I've thought about this a little bit more though. I think a lot more playable areas. You know, we've gone to maybe 3 planets in the solar system. I think that they should go to a lot more places. Have the ability to explore a lot more area, I guess you could say. So that's kind of the things that I would
that's
want.
good. Actual places. And that's kind of what they're adding on a little bit, but as far as just a Dreadnought, it's kind of cheap, I think.
Yeah, they're just going to reuse even the same ship name from Halo, the Dreadnought.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So for me, like, you guys are boring. I wanted something like, all right, I want to fly in space. I want to really control my own ship. I want to have a 3rd character altogether, not just a 3rd subclass. That's probably asking a lot for devs and the development side of it. Great, whatever.
You mean a
But
4th character?
Be the stranger.
Yeah, 4th character. Be the stranger. I want to be the stranger. And we've talked about this before. They missed out on such an opportunity with those sparrows. Why can't we race in them? Why don't they have some real formal race?
Exactly.
That you can go and meet people, random people that you find in patrol, and set up a race.
I want to race my damn
you
sparrow.
challenge them to a race. Yeah.
And then I want to be able
like
to
I'm saying
shoot
right
the
there.
hell out of the sparrow with the tank.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different things. They missed out on such an opportunity. Bottom line, with it, they didn't capitalize on so many different things, and that's kind of been the overarching theme in Destiny, is that it had such good potential and that it could do such cool things, but in the end, we've been let down at every turn, and we always wanted Bungie to prove us right. They didn't.
Yeah, I mean...
They gave you my etheric light.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. and Naders, and you and I, we've put in probably at least 800 hours into this game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's always been with the hope of something better. I've never played this... Go on.
I heard a podcaster just talking about it and talking about with deeds. She's like, we're waiting for you to prove us right. We're waiting for you to say that it's good, that we're able to tell everybody that Destiny is a good game. It's the coolest game we've ever played, and they haven't done it.
Nope.
Bottom line.
Straight up, I'm not willing to pay $40. I have Halo. I have Black Ops, I have Need for Speed, Battlefront, all these games coming out in the next few months. I don't need Destiny. Destiny needs me. And they're not getting me. They're not getting. Yeah,
I can't sum it up any better myself. Nope,
they're not.
Me neither. Norco,
so maybe a
not
month
you.
or two, price goes down.
Yeah, wait till year 2 and you'll be able to get whatever you want, and not be one of the punished early day 1 players like we are right now.
Yeah, you talk about how you have Halo and Battlefront, these 2 franchises that haven't put out games for how long. I'm pretty sure they can entertain me for another year. So,
Yep. Well, thanks for playing with me, guys. I needed help on that Nightfall. That was rough stuff. Yeah, and you didn't get Jack. I'm sorry. But that's the story of everyone's lives. Nobody ever gets Jack. Yeah, just wanted to make sure I got revives. You had to be the one to die. Peace out, gentlemen. Thank you.
my God.